Hello, how are we all doing? I just thought I would do a video of how I tune up a tabla that's in need of a pull. Once the blocks get fairly low and you've used up all the straps. For example, most of these are on 3, so there is one more strap on most of them, but one of them is on 4, which is that one, which is quite a wide one, which I've had to use 2 different blocks for. This is actually all in the same 4, if you're with me. So there's no more tuning in this drum, so it's good time to do a video explaining how I do it, because there's been quite a lot of questions on Reddit about tuning tablas and tabla maintenance and so forth. So I've decided to do a little video of the process. So you'll need some tools. You'll need a few tools. I'll quickly explain how you go about actually putting the head on from scratch as well. So I'll start there. So I used to use string, but actually it's a lot easier to get the tension just with some simple ties that you can get from the hardware shop. It's literally just a case of put that in there and then tighten it down over the drum. Obviously make sure the metal's not on the drum, and use 2 of them, one on each side. So you would have a shell, a head, and the strap, which will be with the bottom ring already attached. This is the bottom ring, which is a separate ring, and it has the whole reel of strap tied onto it. So that would go on the bottom of the drum with all the lots and lots and lots of strap, followed by the head on top of the drum. So then obviously the head needs to be the right size, it needs to be snug. If it's too large, slightly, even if it's only 1/4 of an inch, it'll overstretch in time. You won't get the right tension and you'll lose the wood. So it needs to be a snug fit. So that's that. So you tie it on, and then the strap goes up, and the first one to go in goes down. So it comes up and it comes down, and what you do is you only work as much as, so you don't get it tangled. So you put the first one through, it comes down, you make sure it's not tangled, comes underneath, comes back up and comes through again. Then what you do is you only pull through about an arm's length, like this. You don't pull the whole lot through because it'll all get tangled up, and that's what you don't want. That's what you definitely don't want to happen. That's what you want to avoid. That's the main objective. So you pull about an arm's length through, and then you pull that lot through, and then you stick that in again as you just done on the first already, and you carry on like that. It's quite a lengthy process, obviously, because each time you do it, you've got to, there's further to go. So each time you do it, you've got to run it all the way through, run it all the way through, run it all the way through, etc. But doing it that way, you don't have to, if you do it any other way, if you pull the whole lot through, you're going to have like yards and yards, meters and meters of tangly strap all getting wrapped around your legs, wrapped around the chairs, getting tangled up. It's a nightmare. So don't do it that way. Just pull as much through as an arm's length, enough to control, and just put that little bit through, and then you just keep working back and working it through, working it through, working it through, and then you get to the end and that's it, that's done. So you're not putting any tension there, you're just making sure that the you know, it's fairly even. You're not putting in any tension at all, you're just making sure it's fairly even. Make sure that the strap's long enough. Either buy a new strap or yeah, just make sure it's long enough, because you don't want to get to the end and find out it's too short, which can happen. Okay, so that's putting the head on. It's fairly self-explanatory. Once you've got the head on, what you do then is you just pull it hand tight. Just hand tight, just with one hand, just to get the slack out. Don't give it a proper pull, just literally just get the slack out, get it on, get it even, just hand tight, just on, just nice. And then what you do is you block it up from that point. Some people will put it on the floor with their legs on the drum, and they'll pull it and tune it, pull it and tune it, pull it and tune. I don't think that's a very good way of doing it, because it's a circular, obviously it's a circular problem, and you know, if you pull here, you're gonna change the tension on the other side, and there's no way that you can judge just by pulling and playing nah to get the tension right that way. I don't think it's a very good system. So what I do is I put, like I say, you put the head on, just get it hand tight, and then you use the blocks to get the initial tension going. So you do a preliminary blocking, and how we do that I will now explain. I will be doing it in a minute anyway, but within this context. So you start off with the what I call the first innie. So it's the inner, this is the outer one and this is the inner one. So it's the first innie, and you start off by putting that one on, and then you do the other side, opposite sides, same. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So opposite, exactly opposite, same one. And you do that all the way around, and then you do the next one to go on is the first out, second outie. So then you've just got these two on then, and again opposite, and then the next one is the first outie, which is the first one, and then that goes on, same process, and then the last one is the fourth one, is the last innie. So then you've got 4 straps on each block. Obviously you start the process from the beginning where the head's tied on. At that point you need to then tune the drum, get the blocks down. You're only just getting the first tension in, so it's all going to be, not going to be very reactive to the tuning process. So you're just getting the blocks down, you're getting it in the optimum tension for where you're at in this stage, and you're just getting the first bit of tension in the drum so you can just get a note. So that obviously depends on the size of the drum and the thickness of the shy and etc. But you just need to do it by ear. If you need to use a tuner, then you need to use a tuner. But ideally you're going to be using your ear. So at that point you get it down to so that it's a nice note, as good as you can. Only tune to the lowest point of the drum. Don't try and get to the highest point of the drum. So if it's going ding ding ding, dong dong dong, get the high bit down, because you want to be getting the tension in the actual straps. That's where you're going to get the balance. You're not going to get balance by striking down. That's another thing a lot of tabla players do, is they'll strike down quite forcefully on the kinar like this to tune it. Bang, 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 tune, 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 bang, bang, bang. Which is all well and good, but you're never going to get very good results. Because you hit there, and this side's going to go up. You hit there, that side's going to go up. So I only do that for very, very fine tuning. Once the drum's actually optimally balanced, as balanced as it'll get, and any other adjustments will throw it off. So that's the only time that you use tiny little, literally like that, literally tiny little taps. That's the only time I do that. So as it's tuning, you tune to the lowest point, and you knock it down, and you can be quite. You can put as much force as you want into this, because you're going to knock. If you knock here, you're only going to put tension on this part of the drum. It's going to go bang. It's going to just put tension on here. It's not going to knock any tension out of the other side. Well, only sympathetic response, but nothing major. So tune to the lowest point. Get the tension into the straps. Once you've done that, and it's as good as you can get it, with as little waver as possible, then you leave it for several hours just to settle in, and then at that point you'll be at the stage that I'm doing now. Although obviously this has got a lot more tension in it, because it's at the it's not the head's not a new head, so obviously, but the process is exactly the same from this point on. So I will show you from this point on what's what. So tools you'll need is a couple of pliers, some fingerless gloves, a selection of hammers, you need quite a heavy hammer as well for getting the drum balanced underneath. Regular tuning hammers, and a nice, also quite a heavy hammer, medium weight hammer. So, and also you need a crowbar. Right, so gloves on. So give yourself a little stretch, obviously. Make sure you don't pull any muscles. Warm the old shoulders up a bit. The old neck. Oh, that's it. Wrists a bit of a squeeze. Should do it. Alright. Okay, so gloves on. Right. So this drum, as you can hear, it's got a waver, and that's because I've run out of tuning. So it's time for. There's no way of getting this any tune. There's no way it needs doing. So this is the stage. This is the life cycle of a tabla. Okay, so the first thing to do is you start from the beginning where the first knot is joined to the tabla. Right, now I want to keep the tension as much as I can in the straps. So the first one is the most awkward one, and you've got the least strap to play with. So it's quite awkward. So the first one, what I tend to do is just take the whole thing out, like so. Okay. So you start off, you grab the first innie, pretty self-explanatory. You've got to get your fingers underneath there. This is the most awkward pull-in stage. And then fingers under there, drum between the legs, and then just give it as much as you can. That just gets the ball rolling. And then try and keep the tension in that as you just get the first initial bit of tension out. Okay, now this block's obviously a little bit in the way, so move that out of the way a little bit as you do. Then I can start to use the actual gloves now and get my fingers underneath, save my fingers a little bit, save the skin a little bit. So now these pulls, the ones that are coming from the bottom, that's where you really get the tension. The ones from the top are just aren't as effective because they're pulling on the kinnar. This is pulling on the bottom bit of strap now, so it's got real good grip. So this is where you really get some work done on the pulling of the strap. So we'll pull now. So it's quite a lot of work. So and then as much as you can. So you keep that little bit of tension in. So I've got to try and get that up now. See, it's quite tight underneath, so I'll just use my little drum hammer just to get that going. Keeping the tension as much as I can. Just pull that through, off like that. Right, now I'm pulling on the kinnar ends now. So, whoosh. Whoosh. It's just due course really. I'm not keeping it all, the tension up. So I'm trying to keep that tension in now. And keeping that on, there's not really much point in letting it go. You want to keep as much tension as you can as you go. So the next block now, I'm just hammering out as I'm holding this one. And really, I don't want to go more than one strap if I can. I'm keeping that block on the two that it's on, and I'm just getting underneath, pulling that again. Fingers come underneath. This block's actually a little bit in the way, so it's not going to happen. I'll just pull that out again. So ooshed. So you pull it as hard as you can. Obviously you want to be careful with your grip. Make sure your grip's good, because if the strap does break, which it might do, then you don't want to hurt your hands with it breaking. So you want to make sure you've got a good firm grip in case it snaps. So you be aware of that. So then the process continues. It gets a little bit easier to get your fingers underneath as you go. As you can see. Hey! That's good. Move that a little bit then. So that block's out now. So that, you put your thumb there, like that, and you just get that little bit of loop there. Sorry, it's not a brilliant camera, is what it is, but you can sort of see what I'm doing. I'm sort of putting my thumb there, keeping the tension in, and then whoosh, just getting that out, and then we have a bit more. We have a bit more. can see it moving then. That's it, so that comes out again. Right. These buckles are digging in my hands and going round, so they can come off. Right, as you can see, thumbs there, keeping the tension, blocks coming out. One strap at a time now. That clears the block nicely. Yeah, just get that little bit of tension out. So you get it fairly tight first of all, and then you give it a real pull as hard as you can. Hey! It just moves a couple of millimeter. Thumb there. Got a nice bit of loop now. Let's see, bit of loop there. So that's the initial one. Sometimes you don't get a lot of movement. It's just as you sort of approach the other side of the drum, sometimes you pull it and you don't get it. Sometimes the strap's quite thick as well, and you don't get, you pull as you do, but it doesn't really move a lot. But still, you sort that out afterwards with the hammer. So that's a good one. Just as you're doing it, you just pop that underneath the block as you go along. Pop it underneath. Keep the tension. Pull that little bit of slack through, and then set again. Hey. That's the last block now. It's the last block. So so then this is the final bit. So I'll just give that, make sure everything just doesn't move. So that's there. So that's on. So that's what you got. Now, obviously, you get your pliers, and then you take your slack off. You got the rest of your strap needs to come out now. that's it. That's the knot there. That's the rest of the strap there. Pull that through. So pull that through. Just get that out. Get that through by hand, as you do. Then drum goes on the floor, and put your feet on the drum. So in this situation, this is perfectly all right. Any other situation, you don't really want to put your feet on the drum, because traditionally that isn't very respectful to the drum. So that's good. But in this situation, it's all right. So you've got your two pliers. You got your plier there down the bottom, and you've got your other plier there up top a little bit. You get the one down the bottom. Yeah, good grip. Hey, and just give it another pull, obviously. So 1, 2, 3. That's it. So then the weight of the drum, then you just leave it like that. Weight of the drum keeps it taut. So then it's under and through, under and through. So it's a bit awkward sometimes. So yeah, that's it. And then your thumb goes there, and basically you're just doing a knot. So you're doing it as good as you can, right, like that. And then you get a hammer and just secure that knot a little bit. And then you thread this lot through underneath. So that's good, making sure it don't get twisted. Thread that through. So get it through. You can bend it like that. Bend it like that. If it's being awkward, you make a little hook and it'll just pop through. And then you pop it in there like that. Right. So good. That's that done. So the gloves come off. Right. Now, what we're going to do is clear this workspace a little bit, get rid of these blocks for now. Get the drum on the ring, see what's going on. Right, so let's just have a little look. There's going to be high bits and there's going to be low bits. High bit, low bit, high bit, low bit. So we've got two high bits here. You can have a little look and see, oh, I wonder why that is. Well, this is what it is, I suppose. Started there, so there, so that's it. So you've got two high bits there. High bit, high bit. So what you'll do, start off with your medium hammer. You don't go too crazy straight away if you don't have to. So you put it on your knee like that. Low, low, high. So let's get the high bits down a bit. So little taps to start with. Then assess. There's a high bit. So it's sort of there, that sort of whole area. Just some light taps. can hear it going down a bit. So then that's still quite low. So let's try some bigger taps. So what you want is a heavy hammer. For big hits you want a big hammer. So because the thing is, if you use a little hammer and you use force, the impact of the hammer itself will give you not a lot of control, and it'll cause vibrations through the head, and you won't get a very even strike. If you use a heavy hammer, doff like that, there won't be as much vibration. All of the force will be located where the hammer hits. So that's considerably more force. So this bit's still a bit high, so we'll give this a couple of little knocks. So I might even be going lower than the initial point now, which is not a bad thing, because remember, we want the tension to be in the straps. We don't want to really knock it this way, because all you're going to be doing at this point is creating an imbalance. So back to the little hammer. We've done a few big hits, so we don't want to go crazy. So let's see what's going on. So that's a real low bit there. So in a perfect world, we'd get all of it down to that. So let's have a look. No, no, no. There's some big hits coming now. So the big hits aren't doing a lot. We'll do a couple of more big hits to see what happens. So let's do the whole thing. So it's here really. So we'll give this another big hit, and that's it for the big hits then. So there was proper good big hits then. So that's it for the big hits. All you're going to do now is just go around in circles. So now what we do is you find the highest part of the drum, not the lowest part. Now we're going for the highest part. Which is there. So we'll see what, just have a little look on your Tabla machine, see what's going on, or with your tuner. So it's in G sharp. So, and that's pretty close. So, a low G sharp obviously. So, what we do now is we do a little bit of tuning this way. We don't need a lot because we've just knocked it all back. So it's ready to come up. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. Low bit there. You don't want to, if you tap it and it's slightly underneath, that's good, that's okay. You don't really want to get it at this stage. If you go, it's not quite there, bang bang, oh it's not quite there, bang bang bang, oh it's not quite there, bang bang, it'll go over. Because remember, it's under tension. So if it's continuously in flux. So there's always things changing, things happening. So if you're slightly under the note, it's all right because you've still got the rest of the drum to do, if you know what I'm saying. And it's probably likely to come up anyway. So this bit's still a bit high. So, but it's generally now. So this is more light tuning now. So what happens is, you go tap, 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 goes up a little bit and you knock it that way. Tap sometimes, Dun 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 dun. It goes a bit high, boff boff the other way then. So give it a little bit, so that bit there, a bit high, maybe just a little bit of a squeeze then. Right, that's as good as you're going to get it. We've done everything we can do now at this stage, and it's pretty good. No blocks on it yet, but that way everything that's going to get ironed out now with the blocks. But we've done everything we can do. We've got the lowest point. We've got the highest points down to the lowest point. So we put the tension in the straps. Then, as much as we could. Then we've just done a little bit of fine tuning, just to get the head a little bit balanced, get the straps a little bit more even, the tension, and tap 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 tap. And that's as much as we can do because we've gone both ways. We're doing that little squeeze. And that's how it is. So that's pretty good, and that's set up now. That's absolutely set up for blocks. I'm going to block it up now. So now you get a little look at your blocks now. So we want 8 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right. Now you start off at the beginning, or at the end, as it were. So where the strap is, actually it's the beginning. Where the strap is initially tied on, that's where you start. So the first one to go on is the first innie. So the strap's coming up like this from the start, and it's coming back round down here against the drum. That's the first innie. So what you do is get your crowbar, so that goes underneath the innie like that. Get the table out of the way a little bit, so, and then just give it a little bit of a head start. So you're just giving it a little bit of oi, oi, oi. You're just getting that, so you don't have to hurt your fingers too much. So that goes there. You get a suitable block. Well, different size blocks. Sometimes you get slightly longer ones. If there's bigger gaps, you can use them later on. So you get one that's sort of roughly the right size. And then, yep, under there, and then there, like that. So you do it. Under there, palm of the hand on the drum, thumb on the block, pull on the thing, like that, hold between the knees, pull on the thing, thumb, pull on the strap, which is on the crowbar thing, pull on the strap, palm there, where the thumb is, where the thumb meets the thing, your palm, on the pushing, and the thumb there, pushing as well. So you ooshed and then ooshed underneath like that. So that's the first one. So right, now at this stage, we're just getting it started. So we're not going to do any tuning at the moment. There's no point. So what you do then is you're going to do the opposite side. So you've got one. You just count. So you've got two. You've got two. This is one block. Two of them as one block. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, now that's the opposite end. So you get, and then you get the first innie, so it's the same opposite, exactly the same. So crowbar underneath. Give it a little tweak. Like so. That's quite a big gap. Get a bigger, slightly longer style of block, as you do, sort of thing. Underneath like that, pull, and like that, and then 1, 2, 3. Middle one again. That's right. Yeah. So underneath there like that. Hey, finger underneath. Thing like that. Like that. Right, now I've got quite a big gap here. It's just the way it turned out from the knot at the bottom. So I'm actually using a block and a half to cover the 4 straps. So the first block doesn't need to be that big because I'm using 2 anyway, so that's the sort of medium sized one. So that goes underneath. Whoosh! Like so. So we might not even have to use that at the moment, we'll have to see how we go. So then there's the opposite end then, so 1, 2, 3. So hang on, let's make sure we don't do this wrong. 1, 2, 3. It's there. And then 1, 2, yeah, that's right. So that's that. Fingers underneath there like that. Crowbar underneath there like that. Little bit of a tweak. As you can see, I'll use this block. Sometimes it's full on. Right. Oh, one more. Right. So that's all that lot on. Bit of powder on the hands, getting a bit sweaty. Oh. So same idea again. Tuning to the lowest points. So what we got? I'm going to tune to the lowest points, yeah? Same thing, same idea. So there's a low point, high point, so that's going to come down. So just assessing, low point, so high point. So same sort of thing really. So use the medium size hammer, feel it out a little bit. Low point, high point, bit of a tap. It's gone down a bit, that's good. So that's a high point. So that's not going down very well. So we get a big hammer out, have another little listen. So we want to get that down. Ding ding, we want to get it there. So ding ding, ding ding. So a couple of good hits will do it, I think. And the hammer will actually play the note for you as well. So that's about that much area that I'm hitting. With you can hear the amount of force. So that's a bit of a high bit. So we use the big hammer, but not as big hits. So we've done the big hit now. So that big hit will not just only move the high bit down, it will also change the whole dynamics of the drum. So once you've done a big hit, you've pretty much done the big hit really. You might do another big hit, but any more than that and you're just going around in circles. So we'll get the little hammer out again. See if we can get it all down to the lowest point again. So that's good. That dropped. So now the lowest point has gone a bit lower. So that means basically that we're done with that, because it's all gone a bit lower now. So it's the same dynamic, but it's a bit more balanced and it's all gone a bit lower. So you want to tune every stage that you get to, you want to get it as in tune as you can. So at the moment we're on one strap. We'll just try a little bit more. I don't know. I don't think that'll do much. I think that'll just make it worse. Well, we're going to go this way, yeah? So now we're finding the highest point. Which is here. And the other end, I think. But there. So we'll see what note that is. Either with your tuner or if you can do it with your tambora machine. So it's slightly sharp of A flat. So we'll go with A flat for now. So this is a lower point and it's below A flat. A sharp, A sharp, B flat, A sharp. So we'll just do a bit of fine tuning now. Now that we've knocked that down a bit, we might get away with that. Alright, so we'll give that a little squeeze. Alright. It's moved a little bit. You can give it a little squeeze. What you do is you put your palm on there, you put your finger on the spot that is too high, and then you put your palm also in the same spot. So it's fingers and palm, and you give it a squeeze. So that ain't doing a lot, right? But we're not going to try and get it up to wherever the high point is, which actually is slightly sharp of B flat. About there, okay? 118.75 hertz or thereabouts. So slightly sharper B flat. But we're not gonna do that right now, because it's as in tune as we want. If we start moving it around that much at this point, it'll start going all over the place because there's not enough tension to be that precise. Any movements that you make will move it too much. You can only start getting that precise once the tension is there and balanced. And you can start, like I say, being more. Every increment that you make will have a vast impact, a greater impact on the drum. So what we're doing now is removing the first, the second outie onto the blocks. Now then, this is a fairly simple process, and I tend not to do the backwards, forwards, side to side thing for this, because there's not a lot of tension and you can get it done fairly quickly with just your hands. So you just pop it on, basically. Just pop that on and you just go around. You pop them all on, like so. Pop them all on. Some of them are a bit awkward. You've got to get two hands underneath, get the palm, move it over, and then get the thumb, as you do. And then, oost, thumb comes under. And then, two hands under, palm under, thumb. Two hands on there, on the thing. Flip it over. Palms underneath the block already. So as you pull it up, you push. And then, once you've done that, you use your thumb. And then, so on, so forth. You can use the crowbar for this point, but sometimes also you get a good angle on the block, and you can get your thumb and you can just get it under that way. Okay, so that's, so we're getting into territory where any tuning underneath isn't going to be as effective, because there's quite a lot of tension in the strap now. So now really is the point where you assess, am I going to tune by knocking the blocks down, or am I going to tune by adding more straps where needed, or different size blocks where needed. Don't think we're going to need different size blocks necessarily. So there's a nice high bit. So that's what we're sort of aiming for. So let's just have a listen now. What's that? So B. This is where the drum was. B. So what I reckon to do actually is, let's just have a look. Let's get that B and just knock it down. Not too hard. Okay, that's moved a bit. So these are considerably lower. And there's no point in knocking that bang, bang, bang like before, because there's tension in here. So it's not gonna translate. All you're gonna do is you're gonna knock that, and tension in there is just gonna get tighter. Before you did it, bang, 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 because there wasn't any tension in there, the head could move. Now, bang, 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 that'll get tighter. It'll knock it all out, because the tension's it's up there now. So it's a different ball game. If you're with me. So these, now we're applying attention where it's needed. This is where we're really ironing out the drum. So I'll just give it a little tap again underneath. Nothing crazy, just to see what's going to happen. See, that's moved a little bit, so really quite light now. Okay, so there's quite a big difference in what's going on between one side and another. So I don't want to start tuning it now, because the blocks are all at the same. Ideally, you want the blocks at the same level. So despite how many straps you've got on, so then you can have you know, optimum tune. You don't want one block down here and one block up there, because then this ain't going to tune. So you're going to have to that defies the object. Cool. So what you got to do is you find the parts that are lower, which is easy. There's one. So we'll just start there, and get your crowbar and you pop on one outie, the first outie. Yeah. So it's the first one that's that way. First outie on that block. So on it goes with the crowbar. Crowbar underneath, on it goes up, and then fingers on over. Get that on there. So now we'll just have another little listen. Oh, that's nice, that's gone up. So now we'll just do the next one, just for safe measure, because it's going up now anyway. Everything's changing now anyway, so we'll see what happens. So we'll do the next one. So that one didn't move as much. So we'll assess the whole drum now. The first one went on really tight. Second one went on, not as much movement. So that's good. So we'll just assess what's going on the rest of the drum now. It'll make a big difference everywhere else. So the bits that were still on 2 straps have actually gone higher. So what we'll do, so that's a good sign, because it means the tension's getting distributed. So we get our little bit here that we made earlier from a broomstick, and that goes on this one because it's got a very big gap. So it's 1, 2, 3, and then the first innie is all the way over here, because the bottom ring's got a big knot on it, and that's just how it panned out when I put the head on. So we've got a little half block made from a broom, and this is quite awkward. You've got to push that in there like that, and then you've got to get that in there like that. That's pretty good. That went on fairly easily actually. So that just lines up nicely. Okay. So the high bit there, the parts that were already high are getting higher. So what we can do now is, because we've implemented more tension into the drum, the bits that are getting high now at this point, because we've done that, we can now tune them down a bit. With a bit more force. You with me? I'm doing the blocks that are on the were on the 2. The blocks that were always higher have gone still higher. But because we've put extra straps on the either end where it was lower, now I can tune the bits that are higher down, because there's adequate tension to take the impact in the other areas of the drum. So let's use the big hammer. Let's move down. That's good. Let's just use the so it's gone up to C, I believe. So we're aiming for C. Now we're tuning the drum. Now the thing is, if I start putting more straps on now, it's going to go up and up and up and up and up. So now this is the point where you stop putting straps on and you work to tune the drum. So, and you get the closest note that you're going to tune up to. So it's C. Most of it's just below C. So it will now tune with knocking the blocks down. So just for your reference, the blocks that had three straps put on it rather than two there's three of them. There's these two here and there's one back here. So that's just point of reference really. So now, tuning wise, this is your note here, C. And what you're doing is, you can hear, that's slightly under, so tap, 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 tap. Next one, tap, 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 tap. Next one, you're not really getting it, you're not getting each one in tune as you go, you're just making sure it's not going too far over. You're just giving it a few taps. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, that sort of thing. And you're just doing that round and round. It's just getting it straight. And slowly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 taps. And that's it. Slowly, slowly, it all starts to come up. As you do it, as you keep going round, each tap makes more of a difference. So I'm just giving it just 3 taps now. Play Na each time. They're getting quite close now. 1, 1, 2, 3. That one was quite low, so you definitely don't want the blocks to slip off, because then you'll have to well, we'll have to do a load of fine tuning again. We'll have to completely restart, but it will be a hassle. So that's getting quite close there now. So because it's getting quite close, I'm not going to tune it. Reason being, there's no point, because the rest of it's off. So by tuning the rest of it, that's going to go up anyway. And that bit's actually higher. But I'm not going to tune that down either at this point, because I want to see what's going on further on. So at this point it's like tune, 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 tune. And this one's gone a little bit higher. So we'll leave that for now. We'll see what's going on everywhere else. So that's still lower. So now we're tuning more for exactly where we're tuning to get it into pitch. Because any tuning that we do linearly across the whole drum will affect the whole drum too much. So we actually want to pinpoint specific areas now. That's gone a bit higher. And because we've done some adjustment and that's gone higher at this point, because that's the at this stage, so I'll recap. We tune slowly, then it started to come up just below the correct pitch, and then the next one was just slightly above, so we left that be. Then we carried on and we done some tuning that was put on location. So each area that we tuned, we actually tuned as to the note as we could. And now what we're doing is we're tuning the drum essentially, as you would normally tune a drum. So so this is coming underneath to bring the pitch down. So what I sometimes do is just have it on the angle. Get a bit more control, and you can pass the drum sort of over the head, because how you hit it will affect how it tunes. If you hit it bang like that, it'll affect the whole thing. If you hit it as a sweep in a very controlled motion, it'll move just the area that you want. Also catch it right at the underneath. So this bit's still a bit low. That bit's a bit high. One bit. Next bit. Just slightly too high. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. So I'm actually going to use a slightly heavier hammer. We've got a bit more control. Gradually increasing the impact. So that's a bit high there as well. So this is good. I'm pretty much seem to be only tuning this way, which is a good sign, because it means the head's very well balanced and it's applying tension to the head evenly. So the head's just basically getting a little bit high now. We're just knocking it back. So this now is pretty much spot on. We're pretty much there now. Just a very slight vary with the little hammer. Hang on. Yeah, because I hit that then and now it's gone too low. So you'll find that. This area is still actually quite low, unfortunately. So at this point, because the tension is what it is, I'm going to start tuning up by striking down on the gudgerer, because I don't really want to necessarily move the blocks now, because it's going to have too much of an impact on the entire system. And I can achieve my goals just with a light tap, because the tension's already there. So that's too high, but because I've just put tension down that way, I don't want to hit that up necessarily, because you're just going to be doing that. Okay, so now is you start giving the head a bit of a squeeze. That then was, I came down with a hammer. This is a bit high, and give it a bit of a squeeze, just like that. Just a bit more. That has moved it. I'll give it a little bit of a tap anyway. Now that I've moved it, it will be more effective. The tap will be more effective to that area. Very slight, like so. And on it goes. There's needed to come down. That's pretty good. I'll leave that. Slightly low. Tap, tap, tap. Slightly high. A little bit of squeeze. Maybe a rub. Maybe a tap. I think that's pretty much as good as we're going to get it. Pretty good. I think it probably needs to come up to C sharp, because the blocks now are fairly low. I made the decision to knock the blocks down. I made the decision to knock the blocks down and not put more straps on, which is the right decision, I believe. But it is, like I say, it is an old head, so it's not 100%. It's like 99%. Yeah, there's a bit of a waver there. Nothing that hinders the drum. It's only if you're striving for perfection. But the only way I can iron that out is to bring the tension up. and then you run the risk of splitting the head, which might happen at some point. But the thing is, now I've put the work in, I'm going to leave it like it is and see how it settles down. The blocks are fairly low, which isn't great. Like here, for example, the blocks are very low, so it's going to need some work imminently. But it's good not to go too far ahead of the process. It's good to do it incrementally like that. Okay, phone's ringing. I'm going to go now. Thanks a lot. Peace out, Harry Ball.